Fantastic, and I got everyone to their seats. Welcome to tonight's meeting at Middleton City Hall. I will call the meeting of the Common Council today, June 6, 2023. Roll call, please.
Schaefer,
Here.
Wolkus,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Hanero,
Here.
Lorman,
Here.
Crow,
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
All present.
On the agenda is the swearing in of District 4 Alderperson Jennifer Cole. Jennifer, I'm going to ask you to go to the front. Thank you.
Right hand and repeat after me.
I, Jennifer Cole,
I, Jennifer Cole,
having been appointed to the office of Alderperson
having been appointed to the office of Alderperson
for the city of Middleton,
for the city of Middleton,
I swear that I will support
I swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin.
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin.
I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sign the oath book here. Right up there. You are all set.
We would like to take a picture with you. Okay.
Okay, you're all set.
All right, next is the public hearings. It's past 7:31, it's 7:34, I believe. 7:33. Public hearing for renewal applications for 2023, 2024 Class A and Class B intoxicating liquor, Class A and Class B fermented malt beverage, Class C wine, and Class B winery licenses. Do we have any comments? Hearing none. Can we move on?
Formally close the public hearing.
Thank you so much. I'll formally close the public hearing. And moving on to proclamation.
Madam Mayor, point of information, just to not skip the public comment section. There was one received public comment on the page in front of your chair right there.
My apologies. All right. So for the public comments, can we have Kevin Spittler please come to the front and come and speak?
Thank you. My name, is this on? This one? Up top here.
And when you get started, just include your name and address, please.
My name is Kevin Spittler. I live at 6848 Frank Boyd Wright. Welcome, Alder Cole.
Thank you.
Sustainability and doing more to address climate change by reducing the city's use of fossil fuels was overwhelmingly supported by voters in the 2016 Middleton climate referendum by 81% and numerous times since in city resolutions and plans. Recently, sustainability has been identified as one of 6 council prioritized strategic plan initiatives, which I commend the council for doing. Accordingly, I strongly encourage the council to support 3 sustainability-related items on tonight's agenda. Miscellaneous item number 1 authorizes city staff to pursue grant applications in support of sustainability and other strategic plan priorities as identified at last week's committee of the whole. This is self-explanatory, and I made a public comment 4 weeks ago about it. It allows city staff to submit relevant grant applications prior to receiving council approval. If an awarded grant requires city funding match, then the item is brought to the Finance Committee and the council for approval before the formal acceptance. This streamlines the city's response to grant opportunities. To also help, I suggest that the sustainability coordinator's workload clearly needs to be shared with other elements of city staff to maximize the value of this effort. Similar to miscellaneous item number 1 is item number 2, which will accept money from the federal carbon reduction program that will fund the conversion of many of our city-owned streetlights to LEDs yet this year, with a city match percentage ranging from 20 to 50%. And finally, tonight's first resolution, 2023-34, authorizes the city to intervene in a 2023 Madison Gas and Electric rate case in which MGE is submitting to the Public Service Commission a request to adjust specific electric and natural gas rates that will very likely penalize the city of Middleton, and by extension, its taxpayers, as well as over 200 residential and business building owners who have already installed solar systems and those that are contemplating it. As I understand it, the MGE proposal eliminates net metering, thereby complicating solar installations, making them more expensive, and needlessly delaying the switch to clean energy and lower emissions related to our climate goals. And by the way, net metering is an electric billing tool that allows the owner of a solar installation that is connected to a utility's grid to receive credit back from the utility for excess energy not used by the customer, but which is subsequently sold by the utility to others on their grid. This credit helps defer the cost of the owner's solar installation and its maintenance, and drops the long-term cost for it, thus making it more affordable and equitable to a wider range of income levels. Please support all 3 of these initiatives tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to address the council.
Thank you so much. Was there any other public comment or anybody online? Okay, hearing none, we'll be moving on to proclamations. And the first proclamation is the proclamation declaring June as Pride Month in the city of Middleton. And I've asked the new Alder Cole, to go ahead and read it to us.
Thank you, Mayor. So this proclamation designing June as LGBTQ Pride Month in the city of Middleton. Whereas the city of Middleton recognizes the fundamental importance of creating a community where everyone feels safe and welcome to live as their most authentic selves. And whereas the LGBTQ plus community in Wisconsin has endured decades of discrimination, exclusion, violence, and oppression, as well as coordinated efforts to silence their voices simply for being who they are. And whereas the month of June holds great significance for the LGBTQ plus community, including the anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in 1969 and the anniversary of the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling in Obergefell versus Hodges that legalized same-sex marriage in the United States. And whereas the country is experiencing an alarming resurgence of anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment and attacks against the LGBTQ plus community, particularly queer and transgendered youth and their families. And whereas our state and country have made great strides in advancing civil rights and acceptance for LGBTQ plus people, but the ongoing fight for full equality deserves our attention and renewed commitment. And whereas the city of Middleton is fiercely committed to the principles of diversity, justice, equity, freedom, inclusion, and equality under the law, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. And whereas the immeasurable achievements and contributions of LGBTQ plus residents of the city of Middleton should be celebrated. And whereas the city of Middleton seeks to send a message to all people, regardless of who they love or how they identify, that they are welcome in our community to live, work, play, and raise a family free from fear and discrimination. So therefore, Mayor Kuhn of the city of Middleton, Wisconsin, along with the Common Council and the citizens of the city do hereby recognize strength, resilience, and value our LGBTQ+ community by declaring June as LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the city of Middleton.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moves.
I second.
Oh, good.
Or
Perfect. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor to approve the proclamation declaring June as Pride Month in the city of Middleton, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's passed unanimously. And would you like to take a picture and come up front? It's Pride Month. Let's go. Oh, me too. Yeah, she gets 2 pictures.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. It's great. Yep.
Next on the agenda is the proclamation declaring June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth in the city of Middleton. And I've asked Alder Jackson to go ahead and read the proclamation.
This proclamation is a proclamation declaring June 19th as Juneteenth in the city of Middleton. Whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863 was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19, 1865 in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas for more than 150 years, Juneteenth continues to be the most recognized African-American holiday observant, and also is known as Emancipation Day and Freedom Day. And whereas Juneteenth celebrates the freedom and achievement of Black Americans while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all cultures, and whereas it is important to continue a dialogue of the realization of what Juneteenth historically means to all Americans to promote racial healing, reconciliation, restoration, and justice. Now, therefore, the Common Council of the City of Middleton, as well as Mayor Emily Kuhn, hereby proclaim June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth in the City of Middleton. This proclamation was adopted at a regular meeting on the Middleton Common Council on this 6th day of June 2023.
Do I have a motion?
I still move. Oh, sorry.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Okay.
Do I have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of passing the proclamation declaring June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth in the city of Middleton, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. And Alder Jackson, will you come up and we'll take a picture? No, it's fine. This way. All right.
She just stay up there.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. The approval of the consent agenda as recommended to council by committee, commissions, and boards includes 1, approval of May 16, 2023 Common Council minutes. 2, authorization to settle a claim from Janice Ross for damage to a vehicle that occurred on April 18th, 2023. 3, renewal applications for 2023-24 Class A, Class B intoxicating liquor, Class A and Class B fermented malt beverage, Class C wine, and Class B winery licenses. 4, Resolution 2023-29 approving sewer utility 2022 compliance maintenance annual reports. 5, Resolution 2023-33, amending the 2023 approved ARPA budget for the purchase of electronic poll books. 6, award of bid to Ferner Asphalt Sealers in the amount of $194,837 for 2023 street surface treatments. 7, presentation and acceptance of the city's 2022 annual comprehensive financial report. 8, a proposal consideration for recommendation to the Common Council implement a cash in lieu option for employees not enrolling in the city's health insurance plan. 9, First Amendment to the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Grant Award Agreement with Madison Development Corporation to construct 52 units of workforce housing at 6908 Century Avenue. And 10, Land Use Restriction Agreement with Madison Development Corporation to construct 52 units of workforce. Audit of bills.
Yeah, so
Do I have an earlier version?
Yeah, sorry. Madam Mayor,
apologize.
on the screen is the most updated version that's got the audited bills added. So it'd just be renumbering 2 to 11.
And adding the audit of the bills to be paid as approved by Finance Committee. All right. So do I, oh, yes.
Madam Chair, I request that we remove now item 7 for discussion after approving the consent agenda. The award of bid to Farner.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I have an amendment to offer to the minutes.
Hold that for a second. Do I have a motion besides removing number 7? Do I have a motion to?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda minus item 7.
Fantastic. And your amendment is?
Just the correction to the spelling of my name. Jennifer with 1 N rather than 2 on page 2 and page 8. Thanks.
Okay. Any other issues? Right. Do you accept that amendment?
I do.
Okay. Do I have a second to her motion?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approval of consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. All right. Like, I have to look at the screen. Number 7. My apologies. Go
No,
ahead.
that's fine. Thank you. So the Finance Committee did approve this item, but I wanted to clarify that Public Works and now the Finance Committee had approved actually 2 actions. So the motion that came out of the Finance Committee unanimously is to award, and I move now that we award the bid to Farner Asphalt Sealers in the amount of $194,837 for 2023 street surface treatments, and to authorize staff to increase the project scope of pavement surface treatments to maximize the maintenance work that can be achieved within this year's budget allocation of $250,000.
Do I have a second?
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the award to bid to Farner Asphalt Sealers in the amount of, is it 250,000?
$194,837.
But with the flexibility is what you're talking about?
I can finish reading it if you'd
That'd be
like.
great,
Sure.
thank you.
In the amount of $194,837 for 2023 street surface treatments, and to authorize staff to increase the project scope of pavement surface treatments to maximize the maintenance work that can be achieved within this year's budget allocation of $250,000.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. All right, so moving on to agreements. The construction of escrow agreement with Madison Development Corporation for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Funds. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move approval of the construction escrow agreement with Madison Development Corporation for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Funds.
Do I hear a second?
Second Jackson, I second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the construction escrow agreement with Madison Development Corporation, please say aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to miscellaneous. Number one, the authorization of city staff to pursue grant applications in support of sustainability and other strategic plan priorities. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moves.
Mrs. Wilkes, I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
I just want to thank Kendra for bringing this to the attention, so we could get this on the agenda right away. So thanks.
It's gonna be 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for the committee of the whole meeting. I think that went really well.
I want to thank the council that we was able to push that forward tonight, get it approved. Brian, we counting on you.
And it came through.
More work.
All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. All those in favor of authorizing city staff to pursue grant applications in support of sustainability and other strategic plan priorities, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Number two, the city match percent commitment for the carbon reduction program partial grant award for 2023. Sorry, Alder Hanira.
Yes, I would like to make a motion while Brian is pulling up a slide. All right,
Okay.
so I move, as recommended by the Finance Committee, I move that we go with option 2 for our match percentage commitment for the Carbon Reduction Program Partial Grant Award for 2023.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second it.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the city match percentage commitment for the carbon reduction program, option number 2, with a match percentage for 2023, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Number 3, review of the city's fund balance policy.
Madam Chair,
Alder Hanauer.
on behalf of Finance, I would like to report that we accepted our staff's recommendation not to make any changes to the current policy and to prioritize fully funding the general contingency in the 2024 budget at the policy target of 0.67% of budgeted general fund expenditures. And no action is needed other than council not objecting to our recommendation.
Okay. And I'm sorry, was that a motion? Okay. Do I need a motion?
It was a report.
It was a report. Okay. Do we need to accept the report or just move on?
I can move to accept the report.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Do you need?
State that I don't believe that any action is needed unless there is a desire to amend the policy. So I think it was just a report that this was reviewed and no changes are recommended at this time.
In that case,
I withdraw my.
I was going to say, I appreciate your enthusiasm because I was ready to accept
That
it.
means that anybody can.
Anyone? Well, and Bill, thank you for clarifying. So Finance Committee, thanks for what you guys are working on. I do appreciate it. Number 4, concept design approval, Lakeview East Park and Mary E. Jacobson Conservancy. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer will make a motion since I was on Parks as we went through this, and I think that the plan was vetted very well and was 100% within approval of the Parks Recreation Forestry Commission. And I think we should move forward with this. So I make a motion to accept this.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I have a point of discussion. It was brought to my
Okay,
attention
cool.
by a constituent that the Conservancy Committee may not have had reviewed this. I'm looking for her language.
It turns out
believe they
it
did.
was
Okay.
as of last week, and that information had not gotten to constituents. So
Okay,
you may have received that information in between, but I appreciate that you're sharing. Now, if city staff has another update, please jump in. But I do appreciate that. Do you have any other comments?
no comments, just glad that that was resolved yes.
Okay, great. Alder Hanira?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of questions. One, I want to make sure that bike racks are part of this plan when it goes forward, bike racks at the park.
I would like that.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm inputting my thoughts. My bad.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
quite hear the question. I think.
Bike racks.
Oh,
Yeah, I think some of those amenities weren't added in, but if that is something that you'd for sure like to see, that could be added. I think on the plan, there's for sure benches, open air shelter, but a bike rack is not identified in that location, but that amenity can definitely be added tonight or.
I would like
and when I
to,
went through parks, it was a design of
You know,
concept. And
Concept,
so
right.
the idea was to leave some grassy areas in the middle to walk around and have a play area. So we didn't really get into that. Maybe you guys did.
not into all of the,
okay. And then I just wondered about signage because I really want to make sure that people know this park exists. Honestly, I did not know there was a park there until seeing the plans. And so I think the tree line is lovely. The existing prairie is lovely, but it might obscure the view of the park from Allen. And it would be great to have a sign there in addition to any that might be on Middleton Beach Road.
thank you. And also with the signage, I know it was something that my predecessor was working on, park naming, just as it's named Lakeview East Park and just getting a little bit more designated name instead of Lakeview East Park, having something there. So it is a part of staff planning for that as well.
I kind of like the idea of Lakeview East because it ties it into the
I
bigger
do
park
too.
across the street and makes it feel less of a private park because it is so secluded into that neighborhood. I feel like if you tie it into the larger park across the street, it sounds like a continuation rather than making it. Well, I think because I believe the Conservancy has a private name associated with it. So it almost seems very, I don't know, I feel like tying it into the bigger one makes it feel like an extension of our bigger park network.
I totally agree. And I think it also would avoid having people say, why is there a park over here? You know, look at the city just put in a new park when we have one right over here. So, you know, it's an extension. I like the name.
And because of the bike path across the street, I think having bike paths is essential because I think it's, again, a continuation of that bigger network. I would also suggest that sorry, John, that we continue to look at crossings on Allen because that's Allen, because it is such a busy stretch of roadway and it's only going to get busier, that in order to, utilize this park and connect it with the rest of the neighborhood, that we really focus on safety on that roadway.
Alder Schaefer.
Yeah, I think that it reflects some of your concerns with the idea of the path going through the Conservancy part, was to try to connect it to those apartments north where the Captain Bill's development is, so people feel like they have their own, they don't have to literally cross over Allen Boulevard to get to the other part. That has its own major complications because it's mostly a swamp, but I think we also talked about, isn't there bike access along Allen Boulevard on that side of the road? So
Yes, yes, there is.
He's looking at trying to enhance ultimately access to the north for that part.
Alder Hernandez.
I would add to Alder Wokas's comment about access. If you move the image, I don't know who's controlling it, but if you show us a little more to the left. Maybe not that much. Okay, so you can see where the path comes.
There's a path.
Oh,
There's a
yeah, I thought it was
sidewalk.
on the other
But
side.
you-
of the
but you've
street.
got to show us a
It's
little
on
bit
that side
more.
of the
There you
street.
go.
But isn't the wide one, the bike path's on the other side, right?
So, well, that is the bike path right there on the western boundary where the number 7 is.
Yeah.
But if you look to the left, you can see where Maywood Avenue comes out a little bit north of that. And because when I first looked at this, I was going to ask, can we put in a signaled crossing for people trying to get to the park? And then when I saw that Maywood Avenue is there, I realized there is a crossing already, but I am a little concerned that people might just try to cross at that. It would be nice if those two could line up so that it's very clear to get to the park, stay on this path.
That is a challenge. I will say that is.
Whose challenge is that? Is that Bike Ped? Is that Public Works? Is that Parks?
Not parks as far as I know.
It could be parks. It could angle up just enough and have like a very clear sign saying this way to the park.
There's 7, like where it outlets to Allen Boulevard. Yeah, that's the,
Yeah.
Access.
okay. And because there's a lot of wetland in there, we'll just have to take a look at that.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of wetland within that. And then where it crosses into the conservancy area, we would have to take a look at a boardwalk. And that might be a little bit more narrow because of the swell from the park to the conservancy area, to cross that connectivity.
Yeah,
So
but the
just-
sidewalk
yeah.
is still there along.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You
So
can't
it
see it with
could
the
run
trees
along.
shading it over,
Mhm.
but there is
Yeah.
access outside.
Okay.
Well, this is all very good questions and I look forward to future. Yeah, I look forward to future things. Sean, did you want to chime in?
I only was just a little bit confused. It seemed like we might be talking about the driveway in this photo near where there's a red car shown. But Maywood Avenue is a little bit north of that. That's basically the beginning of a left turn lane. So you'd have to go north to the end
Oh.
of that left turn lane
Well,
to
then
get
I-
to Maywood, which does have a signalized crosswalk then.
So it must be up here.
And this path connects to that.
Okay, so
Where the red car is that's a driveway.
That's a driveway.
Right, but if you go up that
Look at the
sidewalk a little
bank.
further north, there's a signal crossing over.
Yeah. So you can
And to the
see that
south as
there's-
well.
There's a boulevard in the
Hmm.
way. right
Yeah,
next to the car.
I just wanted to be sure I was clear about that.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
That's a driveway.
Darn right.
bank, but
That's
the
why,
other
yeah,
business
you're
there,
the streets
that's all.
person, I suppose.
I appreciate that. And then without seeing a bigger image, I would just ask Kylie to make sure when this goes forward, to make sure we're not vulnerable to people wanting to cross the street at this location where 7 comes out. And if that is likely, we should
Okay.
put a signaled crossing in.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Kylie, do you have any final comments? No, you're good. All right, in that case, all those in favor of concept design approval of Lakeview East Park and Mary E. Jacobson Conservancy, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to ordinances, second reading. The ordinance rezoning from R3A High Density Residential to Plan Development District General Implementation Plan, Middleton Shores redevelopment, 6110 to 6150 Century Avenue. Do I have a motion?
This is Haniro. I move approval of the ordinance rezoning from R3A High Density Residential to PDD GIP for the Middleton Shores redevelopment.
Do I have a second?
This is Crow. I'll second.
All those in, any discussion? Ms. Alder Nelson?
Can I hear a discussion of the contingencies the 10 contingencies?
Staff, do you have comments on the contingencies?
We made one change. I think if you scroll up, if I remember right, I loaded this over a week ago, so now I don't remember. Was it number 8?
It's number 5.
There's city engineer approval of a comprehensive stormwater management plan for the entire development. That was a clarification that I think it was Alder Haniro was requesting. And so subsequent to the initial reading, we added that language or clarified that language in number 5.
The yellow at the bottom.
Right. That's why I highlighted it. Thank you. That's where it is.
Did the motion include those provisions? I didn't know, but-
Well,
It's
I
in the
was,
ordinance.
Oh, it's in there.
did that answer your question?
I guess that answers the question.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Or did you have any follow-up
No,
comments? or
thank you.
questions? Okay. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-1. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution number 1, resolution 2023-34, ratification to intervene in the 2023 Madison Gas and Electric MGE rate case. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move approval of Resolution 2023-34.
Do I have a second?
Jackson seconds it.
Any discussion? Hearing that none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Resolution number 2, Resolution 2022-35, amending the 2023 approved transit budget to support improvements for new bus stop locations. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, on behalf of Finance, I recommend, or I move approval of Resolution 2023-35, amending the 2023 approved transit budget to support improvements for new bus stop locations.
And do I have a second?
Schaefer seconds.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 2022-35, amending the 2023 approved transit budget to support improvements for new bus stop locations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Oh, do we have a new, what's the next topic? Okay, thank you. Next topic is the committee appointments. And it says citizen appointments to committees, commissions, and boards.
Madam Mayor, point of information, I'm happy to read them off for the record. So we have Christy, and I'm going to mispronounce the last name, so I apologize. Warnier to Landmarks Commission, Zoe Van Ness, Pedestrian Bike and Transit Committee, Laura Bedingfield, Community Development Authority, Aurora Pop Vicus to Library Board, Elizabeth Winters Montemeyer to Arts Committee, Eileen Skellion to Committee on Aging, and Connie Nadler to Library Board.
Do I have a motion?
This is Nelson. I move that we approve all of these citizen appointments to committees.
Do I have a second?
This is Jackson. I second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the committee appointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And that takes us to the reports on city committees, boards, and commissions from alderpersons and mayor. Do I have any volunteers? Alder Nelson?
Unofficial report from Parks. The project to spray the spongy moth caterpillars has been successful, and I have had an arborist come to my house and he's very pleased with the results so far. So we will hopefully keep the project on the budget for next year to repeat it. This year we had a grant that covered all of the costs. Next year it will be in our budget, as it's unlikely to be a repeat recipient of the same grant. But great news, hopefully folks in Saxwoods and the Meadows are going to have a much better summer without the caterpillars everywhere.
Great news. Thank you for sharing that. Do you guys want to go around, or does anyone have any hot topics? I think most people are on some new committees, so you may or may not have met yet. Okay.
I can quickly report back from golf. This is also an unofficial report. We have not yet had our meeting this month, but so far the season has started out really great. Despite the construction on Pleasant View, they continue to enjoy really good business. They are completely booked with private outings for the summer, despite the construction. So they look forward to a great season.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Since that's about it for committees, hopefully next time we will have more reports as things move on. And Alder Cole, you'll be starting yours pretty soon. So during this segment, we usually just share, one or two things on a couple of committees. It's generally robust, but we are committee transitioning. So moving on to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Schaefer moves.
Nairo seconds.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Have a wonderful night.